Slashing Google Ads CPAs for your 7-figure e-commerce brand is not hard anymore. And I'll show you how. I'm Andre, founder of HoloGrowth, and over the past few years, I've audited hundreds of different Google Ads accounts. And I was responsible for over 50 million in tracked revenue for e-commerce brands similar to yours. If you're tired of high CPAs eating up your margins, I got 3 key lessons from our proven system that will completely change how you approach your campaigns. Stay till the end to see how we can take this even further for your brand. Point 1. Build a rock-solid data foundation. Fix your tracking to trust the data. I've talked to dozens of e-commerce brand owners, pulling 100,000 per month or more in revenue. And most of them don't even trust their Google Ads numbers anymore. They see one return ad spend in the ad account. They see completely different numbers on Shopify, different numbers on Google Analytics, and they have no idea who to trust. They have no idea which numbers to make the decisions based on, and they're basically flying blind. They're just guessing where to scale or where to cut costs because they don't really know what is working and what is not working. Post iOS 14, attribution is just a mess if you're not set up right. And I've seen brands waste thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars by relying on wrong data and not the right tracking. So here's how you fix your tracking. First, you need to set up server-side tracking. That ensures that every click and every conversion is captured properly. That server-side tracking should bypass any browser limitations post iOS 14 that block all of that data to come through. These challenges and those browser limitations are a huge hurdle to accurate numbers. Then you should cross-check data between Google Ads and Shopify. On top of that, you should use tools like Google Analytics or a third-party tracking tool. For most of our clients, we use Triple Whale, but there's also Hyros, Polar Analytics, Northbeam, and a bunch of other third-party tracking tools that just give you another data point and another source of truth where you can rely on. And those tools just ensure more clarity and give you more reliability on the data. And last but not least, you should primarily focus on real numbers, real business metrics. Obviously, it's great to have the tracking as accurate as possible, and it's great that the advertising platforms are able to show you as accurately as possible what kind of results you're getting, what the return ad spend is, what the AOV is, conversion rate, all of those things. But in the end, you can only really rely on the real business metrics. So how much did you spend on in total over all of the ads? How many sales did you get? What was the revenue? How many new customers did you get? Like all of those numbers where you're 100% sure that those are accurate and those are real numbers. And those are also the real numbers that matter. Like in the end, a high return ad spend doesn't mean anything if the revenue is flat, the profit is low. Like, you have to focus on the things that really matter. So the main metrics that we look at when we scale an e-commerce brand is the blended return ad spend or the marketing efficiency ratio, but also the blended cost per acquisition, the new customer acquisition cost, and obviously the revenue, the profit, and the growth of those. The in-platform return ad spend and the return ad spend that all of those third-party tools are tracking are great indicators. They are great at pointing you into the right direction and showing you in general like what works, what doesn't work, which campaign is more efficient, which one is less efficient. But the real business metrics are by far the most important one, and those are the ones that you should make all the real and all the big decisions based on. If the return ad spend on Google suddenly goes up, but you see that the blended customer acquisition cost goes up as well, and it's more expensive for you to acquire new customers, it means it's not working. And whatever you're doing, you shouldn't increase the advertising budget because it's getting more and more expensive to acquire a new customer. Just last week, I talked to a brand where the in-platform metrics for Google Ads looked great. The in-platform metrics for Meta Ads looked great, but they noticed that over the past 2 months, the blended customer acquisition cost became higher and higher. And with that, the profitability for them was lower and lower, and the payback period, whenever a new customer becomes profitable for the brand, extended longer and longer, which led to the brand having cash flow issues and not being able to reinvest a lot into paid ads and not being able to scale up the ads. Even though the numbers inside the platforms look great, it's just that the business metrics on the other side told a completely different story. And on the ads, everything looked great, but there were some issues going on, some other problems going on that led to the business not being good, not scaling in a healthy way. And with that, we had to cut down the ad spend and change the advertising strategy because with the business metrics, it just didn't make sense to scale up, even though the return ad spend in the platforms looked great. So why do you need all of this? First, without proper tracking, you're just flying blind. You're just guessing what works, guessing what doesn't work, and trying to scale things up without having the real data and knowing what works and what doesn't work. No amount of budget tweaking will save you if your CPAs and your customer acquisition costs are just too high until you get the right data. Once you start following this strategy, you'll know exactly what is working, what is not working, and where you're bleeding cash. If your ad costs keep climbing and you're not sure why, it's time for a deeper look. At HoloGrowth, we offer a custom 90-day scaling roadmap, a completely free hands-on audit of what is currently working in your account, what is not working, and how we can scale your brand to the next level. We dive into your ad accounts, look at your whole funnel, and analyze every opportunity to cut your customer acquisition cost in half. We help brands like AlgoRx scale from 70K per month to over 500K per month in revenue in less than 1 year using that approach. Ready to stop guessing and start scaling? Click the button below to book your free strategy session and let's build your roadmap together. But now let's move on to the next strategy. Point 2, structure campaigns around customer value. Target smarter, not broader. To drop your CPAs on Google, you have to target smarter because throwing more budget at everyone will not work. It will not get you a lower customer acquisition cost. Too many e-commerce brand owners think that scaling up Google Ads just means blasting out to everyone, using broad match keywords, broad targeting, and just ramping up the ad spend to try to acquire as many customers as possible. But that's just the fast track to $100 CPAs and a lot of wasted budget. The smarter way is here. High intent keywords. You should focus on exact match or at least phrase match keywords to target people with high intent. So people searching exactly what you're offering and people that are already in active buying mode and looking for your product specifically. Those are the people that are the easiest to convert, that have the shortest conversion cycles because they're actively searching for something that you can give them, that you can offer them. And you just have to make sure that you put your ad in front of them, that it's attractive, that it shows the right benefits, and they will buy. And using exact match keywords and phrase match keywords ensures that you're not wasting any advertising budget on keywords that are not relevant or don't have the high intent behind them. Obviously, the search volume will be lower since you're targeting very specific keywords, but it just maximizes your efficiency. With that, you can also make sure that the ads are really custom tailored to what the person is searching for. If someone searches for a very, very specific keyword, a very high intent search term, you want to make sure that the ad really shows them exactly what that person is searching for. This way, you can also ensure that you custom tailor each ad and each messaging to exactly what the person is searching for. If you have a broad match keyword, Google will show your ad to a lot of people with a lot of different search terms. And no matter what they search for, they can see your ad basically. With exact match keywords on the other side, you know exactly what the person is searching for. You target specifically what one person is searching for. And then you can make sure that the ad copy is really custom tailored to what the person is looking for. Because if someone searches for a specific thing, you want to make sure that your ad has exactly what the person is searching for and exactly in the way how they phrased it and how they're looking for it. And obviously make sure that it also has the benefits, the USPs, what makes you unique from all the competitors, and it has like an attractive offer with that. But you can really focus on the messaging and really make sure that that your ad is custom tailored to what the person searched for. That's why we also always recommend to have single themed ad groups. So basically group the keywords up in different ad groups based on the theme, what is someone searching for, and also based on the intent. What is the exact product that they're searching for? What is the intent? What is the theme behind what they're looking for? And that way, if you only group those keywords together and have only a few very tight exact match or phrase match keywords in one single ad group, you can make sure that the messaging and the ad is really custom tailored to what they're looking for. And also that the landing page just resonates, because obviously based on how high the intent of the person is, you want to send them to different parts of the website. It might be the home page, it might be the collection page, it might be the PDP, the product page, it might be a landing page, it might be an article. Like there are a lot of different things. And based on the intent, you want to send them to different parts of the website. Obviously, if it's something very, very specific for a very specific product with high purchase intent, we want to send them to the product page right away to make sure that it's as smooth as possible and that they can buy right away. The second thing is to layer in tight audience segmentation. So on top of targeting specific keywords and also with your Performance Max campaigns, adding in specific search themes with your different asset groups, on top of that, you want to layer in audience segments and audience targeting. That can on the one side be on the location, on the geographical side of things, but also based on interests, based on lookalike audiences or similar audiences to your existing customers. With Google, you can even go to competitor websites and target visitors of your competitor websites or people who are similar to people who visit your competitor websites. Since Google has all of that information, you can be very, very granular when it comes to the targeting and really pinpoint who exactly your audience is and how to target your audience in the most effective way. Obviously, especially in the beginning, if you don't really know who your target audience is, who your buyer avatar, like how does the person look like, you also have to do a lot of testing. A lot of people think that they know who their customer is, and they have this idea in their mind who their dream buyer is, who their customer is. But in reality, once we start advertising, we see that it's someone completely else, or that there are 2-3 different avatars that we're targeting and different audiences that we're targeting. And for that, you obviously have to test different things. You have to see like, how does one audience compare to another one? How does a very, very tight, a very specific one compare to a broader audience? And all of those things need to be tested, and you need to have different asset groups, different ad sets, and everything that is targeting different people. And at all times, you should be running some experiments that see like what is working, what is not working, and how can you further improve the results. But this strategy definitely helps you dial in your exact audience and know who to target, and then obviously also what messaging do they resonate with, what kind of messaging do they respond to. And the third thing is remarketing for lower costs. Nowadays, with a lot of products, it's not enough for the customer to see one ad and be ready to buy right away. So a lot of customers, we need to have multiple touch points. We need to guide them through the customer journey and get them from someone who is completely unaware, has never seen the brand before, has never seen the product before, doesn't even know what is going on. We have to like capture their attention first, get them to the website, but then also guide them through the customer journey and make sure that they have multiple touch points, ideally even through different platforms. So also like meta ads, email marketing, organic content, but that we target them with multiple different messagings, different ads, different campaigns, and also handle all of their potential objections that they might have after visiting the website for the first time and deciding to not buy right away. There are a few different ways how you can approach remarketing on Google Ads. Obviously, the most traditional way is just a traditional like display remarketing campaign. Then nowadays also with demand gen, you can do a remarketing campaign and basically upload different photos, like images, videos, the shopping feed and everything, and use all of those to retarget website visitors. You can also add in remarketing audiences for your search campaigns and for your search ads. So if someone is searching for a similar, like for a generic product, but he visited your brand before, your website before, you want to be even more aggressive on those audiences, and you want to bid higher and spend more money on those people on the search ads. Because if he visited your website before, the chances that they will buy if they just search for a generic product are way higher. So you can be way more aggressive on those audiences. You should be really careful to not spend too much money on warm audiences and on remarketing. With a lot of brands, we see that the issue that they have is actually not that they're not remarketing, is that they're spending too much money on remarketing and on branded terms and existing customers. Because obviously the algorithms nowadays, they want to optimize everything for the highest possible return on ad spend and the lowest possible customer acquisition cost. So if you don't exclude anyone, they will also advertise to existing customers and warm audiences. So in some instances, it might make sense to have a separate remarketing campaign and put more budget behind those people, but you always have to make sure that it's still balanced and that still by far the majority of the budget goes into new customers and cold traffic, new customer acquisition, because that will have the biggest impact on the growth of the business long term. But at the same time, we want to make sure that the people who are already warmed up, that are already visited the website, that we convert them and that they end up buying. Just make sure to exclude people who bought, especially if they just bought in the last 7 days, 30 days, 60 days. We don't want to keep advertising to those. With some brands, we exclude all existing customers because we know that if they bought once, the product is so good, they will automatically come back. Then there's also email marketing on top of that gets them to come back. And with some brands, it's just a one-time product, and chances that they will come back are just very, very low. Like if someone just bought a bed, just bought a couch, like chances that they want to buy another couch in the next few weeks are really, really low, really slim. So we just want to exclude them from all the campaigns and make sure that all of the budget goes towards new customer acquisition. But in the end, you just have to make sure that you structure all of the campaigns and the whole account for value and to maximize the value that you get out of the ads while obviously minimizing the cost. And if you structure your account that way, Google will just reward you with lower CPAs and a higher return ad spend. For one of our clients, Globetrotter, we refined the Google Ads targeting and really dialed it in, made sure that we target the right people with the right messaging and the right ads at the right time. And with that, we've been able to massively increase the return ad spend from a below 1x return ad spend to an above 4x, in most months even a 5x return ad spend on Google Ads. You shouldn't just spend your budget everywhere and try to convert everyone. Make sure that you spend your budget where it really counts and you target the right people, and your returns will be significantly better. Now, if you're serious about scaling and want to see what a real scaling system looks like, I've got something special for you. I've put together a free Google Ads guide built from over $50 million in tracked data across dozens of Google Ads accounts. It's packed with actionable steps on how to reduce your CPAs and improve the return ad spend of your Google ad campaigns. And this will allow you to scale confidently to 7 figures per month in revenue. And this isn't just some theory, it's the exact tactics that we use to scale Nooktails from 30K per month to 500K per month in just 70 days. Click the link below to grab your copy now. Let's move to the final strategy. Point 3, testing messaging and creatives relentlessly. Wrong messaging, bad creatives, and ad fatigue just drives up costs massively. Lastly, you can't lower CPAs on Google without relentlessly testing different creatives, different messaging, and different approaches. Sticking to the same ads will just kill your performance over time. Most e-commerce brands just cling onto the same polished ads, the same branded ads over and over again that just say exactly the same thing and exactly the same thing that everyone else in the industry. And they do that because they want to stay on brand or because they want to be safe, because that's what they have always done. But that's exactly what leads to high customer acquisition costs and low performance. On Google search, all the ads just look the same. Like someone searches for a product like yours and they see 3 to 5 different ads from you and from the competitors, and all of the messaging is just exactly the same. It's the same thing over and over again, and the only thing that makes them decide is maybe the price, or that it's at the very top of the results, or that one brand that they've seen it before and that's why they click on that. You want to make sure that your messaging is different, your messaging stands out, and make sure that it calls out an emotion in the person that's searching for the product. On your display ads and on your YouTube campaigns, you want to make sure that there is no ad fatigue that kicks in. On Meta, on Facebook, Instagram, every single e-commerce brand tends to understand that they need to have a lot of creatives. They need to test creatives, they need to test images, videos, keep refreshing them, keep launching new ones, and doing that over and over again. But most of the brands don't do the same thing on Google. On Google, you also have to make sure that you test completely new display ads, new images, new creatives, new videos on YouTube. Like we see great performance from YouTube Shorts, which is very, very similar to Instagram and to Reels and TikTok kind of content. And with that, you have to do exactly the same creative testing as you do on Meta and see what works, see what doesn't work, scale, do more of what works, do less of what doesn't work, and then also scale up the winners and make sure that ad fatigue doesn't kick in. Make sure that they keep working and that you keep refreshing it frequently. When Google notices that your ads don't perform anymore, that the videos don't get any engagement, people don't like it, people don't watch it, your CPMs will go up, it will be more expensive to advertise, and the performance just will go down. For a lot of e-commerce brands, shopping ads are also a huge part of the business. Like on Google, we oftentimes see that 50% of the total advertising budget goes towards shopping ads, and we deliberately spend more on shopping because we see that the results are great there. But on shopping, we also want to test different creatives. We also want to test different ads. With normal ads, it's clear that you have the copy, you have the headline, the description, potentially the image, the video. But on shopping, you also have the same thing. It's just slightly different. On shopping, it's the listing that is the creative. It's the listing, the product listing that is the ad. So you have to make sure that you test different product images, different product titles, product descriptions, and that you optimize those things and test those things to see how can you improve the results of the shopping ads. Because pretty much every brand has just their basic product image with a white background, and that's it. But with that, you can't stand out anymore. Like every brand has the same like product image with a white background, and if your packaging is not like very, very special and completely different to what everyone else is doing, or your product looks completely different to everyone's else, then it will not work. It will not be enough to get you high click-through rates and get you good performance. So you need to have a product feed management tool, for example, Data Feed Watch, that allows you to edit the product images, that allows you to edit the titles, edit the descriptions, edit all the variables, and also test different things. See how does a lifestyle photo compare to a white background? How does a white background compare to an orange background? Just as an example. And test different things. Also with the title. Should you have the brand title in the beginning, like the brand name, or should it be at the end? brand should the main benefit be first? Like, what does work the best? And based on the industry, based on the products, we see different things work best. And you have to make sure that you test those things, improve those things, and don't just look at shopping ads as, can I turn them on, off, how do I target them? But you also need to look at the creative, look at the ad from the shopping ads. While scaling brands like night operators from 64K per month to over 200K per month in 2 months, I really noticed how important it is and how crucial it is to keep testing different creatives and keep updating, keep iterating, keep improving based on the feedback that you're getting, so that you can really ramp up fast, scale up fast, and keep increasing the ad spend without the customer acquisition cost and the CPAs skyrocket. To implement creative testing relentlessly, here are 3 simple steps that you can follow. First, do weekly iterations. You should run 3 to 5 new variations every single week, depending on your ad spend. Test different headlines, different descriptions, different images, different value propositions to really see what is driving the best results, what is getting people to click on the ad at the highest rate. For that, we always recommend Google's 70-20-10 rule. 70% of the time and effort should go towards creatives that are already working. You're already proven winners. So stuff that works, and just creating new versions, new variations, new iterations of your proven winners. 20% of the time and effort should go into similar creatives. So basically looking at what worked, looking at what are currently the best performing creatives, and then creating similar ads, similar creatives. And the last 10% of the time and effort should go towards testing completely new things, completely new approaches, completely new angles, and testing completely new things. That ensures that the majority of the time and effort goes into the things that get you the best results, the things that are already working, that are proven, and that are successful. And that's how you maximize your output and your ROI on the time that you invest into it. But you still have the 20% of similar things and 10% completely new things, so that you keep innovating, that you keep coming up with new things and keep figuring out what is really working, what is not working, and get new winners long term. Then you should always focus on pain points when it comes to your ads and your creative. Generic product shot will never be as strong as calling out a specific pain point, a specific problem, pain that your customer is having, and showing them how your product can bridge the gap from that pain to not having that pain. This really helps you connect emotionally to cold traffic and to people who have never heard of your brand before, and still make sure that the ad captures their attention and gets them to look at it and go to the site. And lastly, track and scale fast. You should look at click-through rates, conversions, cost per conversions daily. This way, you can really kill losing ads fast and scale the winners. Depending on how many ads you launch, every few weeks or every few months, you should sit down and look at the last 100 creatives that you created, and then look at what are the top 10%, what are the 10 best ads that came out of those 100 ads, what do they have in common, what worked, what didn't work. But then also, what are the lowest 10%? Like, what are the 10% of the worst ads that didn't work? Potentially even the 20% that didn't work. What do those have in common? Why did they not work? And then basically just use that as your feedback loop and keep creating more ads of the top 10% that are working, that are getting the best results. And then just keep doing that over and over again until your ads become better and better, and your content and your creatives become better and better. And consistently testing, consistently experimenting and improving can have huge impacts on the business. With Okimono, an apparel e-commerce brand, we set up a very simple collections page A/B test. So we basically had 2 different variants of the collection page to see which one works better. And to set up the whole test took us 5 minutes, probably even less than that, because it was just about removing one element from the page. And that one test led to $46,000 in additional monthly revenue without making any changes on the ads, any other changes on the website, any changes to the products. From one single A/B test, we had $46,000 in additional monthly revenue indefinitely. When we rolled out the test, it just kept getting those results. It kept getting those improvements, which was a night and day difference for the brand. And that just shows you how extremely powerful testing can be. Tracking, testing, and iterations. Those things aren't sexy. They aren't, for most people, they aren't fun. It's just boring and bland, and you have to do the same things over and over again. Keep improving, keep tweaking, keep trying to get those small differences, small changes. But those are the things that really matter. And long term, those are the things that will turn your Google Ads into a predictable growth engine. And those are the things that will allow you to grow your brand long term and outcompete everyone else in the industry, because they're not willing to do it. Like, if for you it's a lot of work, if you don't want to do it, if it's boring, that's exactly what everyone else else is skipping on. And that's exactly what everyone else is not doing. And that's why if you do that, if you are deliberate at doing that and do those things over and over again, keep improving, keep looking at what's working, what is not working, keep having the feedback loop, that's how you grow your brand. And that's how you get the best possible results long term. But now let's wrap this up. You don't lower your CPAs by cutting the ad spend, or how some Google reps would tell you, by massively increasing your ad spend. No, you cut your CPAs by understanding your data, by tightening your campaign structure and your targeting, and really tracking everything like a pro. Pick at least one strategy from today and implement it this week. Small fixes can compound into massive savings. And if you just watch this video, don't implement anything, you haven't learned anything, and it will not help you build your brand and grow your brand. If you want to go even deeper into reducing ad costs fast and really scaling profitability, I've broken down 3 of my most effective strategies in another video. It's a must watch if you're really ready to bring your CPAs down and scale your brand with confidence. Watch it now and keep building your growth.